Hey everyone, Roger from Ask Our Experts YouTube channel and on TikTok, working on a friend's BMW X3. So he told me that one of the lugs fell out and he had gone to Town Fair Tire a while ago and it looks like they did not install the lugs correctly. We have 3 lugs that are good. This one is the one that fell out. It's all rusty, and this one they only had partially inserted. So they were literally driving on 3 offset lugs. So I'm glad that I found that while I was doing a vehicle inspection. Also, in your BMW, if you see a lot of rust in here, take some anti-seize and go ahead and paste it in there. That's going to be like a rust protection to help prevent these axle nuts from rusting out. I've seen these rust out to the point where you can barely get them off the axle. Sometimes you can damage the axle. So we're just going to walk around this X3 and just show you what I found and some things that should be addressed so you can check your BMW for these issues, and something that you should be looking for when basically you're doing an oil change if you're doing it at home. If you could please take a second, hit that follow tab, I would greatly appreciate it. All right, so take a look at this rear strut assembly. You can see all the rust on the bottom. I'm in New England, so that's not necessarily uncommon. You can see that the boot is deteriorating right here, something to watch for. But let me scroll over this way. Do you see it? What do you see? The spring's actually broken back there. So that whole bottom section of the spring is detached, and the spring is actually sitting slightly off center. I've seen it where the spring will separate completely and jam into the suspension. So finding this, I'm going to say that the vehicle wouldn't be safe to be driven, and we're going to start looking at some prices to replace these rear struts. Rear brakes are looking okay. Tires are getting a little bit low, and you want to remember on an all-wheel drive vehicle that you want no more than 2 to 3 millimeters difference between the rear tires and the front tires, because that can lead to transfer case damage. Now, something to watch out for on BMW X3s are the front struts. They often will leak. This is actually just water. We don't need front struts today, except for this type of situation right here. So the bump stop for the struts is deteriorating. This is an older BMW, or it was chewed by mice. I'm not sure which. It's a pretty big hole right there, but technically this is rusted, but it's not leaking. So this is still doing its job. It is protecting it. The bump stop, well, it lost its integrity. At this point, you could disassemble the whole strut and just replace that. That doesn't really make sense. So right now, that should be perfectly fine. But when the strut needs to be replaced, the boots and that bump stop can be replaced, along with the top swivel bearing. Now you always want to take a look at your thrust arm right here. That's this arm right here. That is when you're driving and the vehicle is going to be diving forward. These look to be in good shape, but you want to look for any cracking or leaking. A lot of times these are fluid filled, so you'll see a little drip down here or a stain, and that's because they leaked out. I forgot to mention that a lot of times when someone does strip out these lug holes, they are repairable. You just have to put a tap through it to clean it up. You do want to replace the lug though. There's really no way to make that lug viable again, and then retorque everything and make sure that everything torques properly. And that's the best way to prevent having to replace the hub. Just make sure you get the right torque. The correct tap size for when we're going to clean that up. And I'll do a video on that when I repair the one in the rear. Now on your BMW, it's pretty common for mice to get up under here. It looks like they did chew through this, but thankfully they did not chew any wiring. If you do have exposed wiring, you will want to get that fixed. And I do recommend Honda rodent tape. So if you end up replacing a harness or you want to protect the harness, you can purchase Honda rodent tape and wrap everything up. This is actually it right here. There's the number 4019-2317. Pick it up at a Honda store. It burns their mouths, and it's a good way to prevent them from chewing. I have not seen one chewed with that Honda rodent tape installed. I've never seen a harness chewed through that. Well, on this BMW N55, we do have almost 190,000 miles, and it's still going strong, so I'm pretty happy about that. A couple things also, the oil pressure switch is pretty common. I don't know if you're going to be able to see it, but the oil volume control valve, see if I can get my light down there real quick. There's a lot of shadow. Right Yeah, and of course everything right there is leaking. You can see that little fuzzy area down there. That's the oil volume control valve wiring, and it will leak through the pins and into the harness. What happens is if the oil is leaking into the harness, it can push up through the wiring, and where is that going to go? That's going to make it to your engine control unit, which is down there under the intake manifold, and it could cause the engine control unit, which we call a DME, digital motor electronics, to fail. Well, overall, the car is actually still in great shape. There's not a lot of rust. I didn't see any coolant leaks, and only like minor staining at the oil pan, which is probably residual from a previous repair. Well, I'd love to hear from you. What did you find on your BMW? And if you could post a picture, that'd be awesome. Just hit that follow, and I will be posting further. Thanks for watching, everyone. Talk to you later.